the most redneck thing your family has done? My Uncle Benny died on a Tuesday. By Thursday, we'd turned his funeral into something the county still talks about 5 years later. Benny had lived his whole life in the Alabama hills, raised hogs, made moonshine, and never owned a pair of shoes that cost more than $20. When he got sick, he made one request: don't let them city funeral directors put me in no fancy box. I want to go out like I lived. My dad took that literally. Instead of calling the funeral home right away, Dad and my brothers went to Benny's barn and started building a casket from the lumber Benny had been saving to fix his roof. They used his own tools, drank his last batch of shine while working, and argued about measurements the entire time. The casket ended up lopsided. The lid didn't quite fit, but it was made from Benny's wood, with Benny's tools, while drinking Benny's moonshine. Dad declared it perfect. Then came the transportation issue. The funeral home wanted $800 just to move Benny from the hospital to the cemetery. My cousin Dale said that was robbery. I've got a truck and some rope. We'll handle it ourselves. We loaded Uncle Benny in the back of Dale's F-150, secured the homemade casket with ratchet straps, and formed a convoy. 17 trucks, all flying Confederate flags. I know, but this was rural Alabama. Driving 15 miles per hour down Highway 31 with their hazards on. The sheriff pulled us over twice. The second time, he just sighed and gave us an escort. Y'all are gonna cause a pileup, he said. But I saw him wipe his eyes when Dad explained we were giving Benny the send-off he wanted. At the cemetery, we realized nobody had thought about how to lower the casket. The funeral director was horrified when Dale backed his truck right up to the grave and suggested using the winch from his tow rig, but it worked, sort of. The casket tilted halfway down, and we heard Benny's body shift inside. Aunt Marlene fainted. The preacher showed up drunk, not tipsy, completely hammered. Turned out he'd been sampling Benny's shine while waiting for us. He gave a 20-minute eulogy about Benjamin, talking about the man's service in Vietnam and his love of classical music. Uncle Benny's actual name was Bernard. He'd never left Alabama and thought classical music was Conway Twitty. My grandmother finally stood up and said, "Preacher, you're talking about the wrong dead person." She took over, told stories about Benny winning the county pig calling contest 8 years straight, about the time he fought a wild boar with a broken fishing rod, about how he'd give you his last dollar but steal your wallet if you insulted Alabama football. Then Dale brought out the dynamite. Benny had always said he wanted to go out with a bang. Dale interpreted this literally and had somehow acquired professional-grade fireworks, not firecrackers, actual aerial shells. He started launching them from the bed of his truck while the cemetery workers ran for cover. The grand finale was supposed to spell Benny in the sky. It spelled Benna because Dale can't count when he's excited. Close enough. The reception was in Benny's barn because Marlene refused to clean her house for company. We served pulled pork from Benny's own hogs, coleslaw in oil drums, and shine in mason jars labeled holy water to avoid legal issues. Around midnight, somebody mentioned Benny always wanted to ride a mechanical bull. Within an hour, my cousins had stolen one from the closed-down bar in town. They said they'd return it Monday. They did not return it Monday. To this day, it's still in Dale's backyard. The county health inspector showed up around 2 a.m. after multiple noise complaints. He took one look at the whole scene: the stolen mechanical bull, the moonshine operation, the probably illegal fireworks residue, my uncle's casket still visible because nobody had filled the grave yet, and my 80-year-old grandmother doing shots while arm wrestling my teenage cousin, and just left. Didn't say a word, just got back in his county car and drove away. We finally filled in the grave at sunrise, using a backhoe Dale borrowed from a construction site. Half the family was passed out in the barn. The other half was still drinking. The preacher was asleep in a pig pen, cuddling a shoat like a teddy bear. Local news picked up the story. The headline read, "Local family gives unique send-off to beloved resident." They left out most of the illegal parts. Last month, the cemetery sent us a bill for damages and trauma counseling for staff. Dale framed it and hung it above his fireplace. He says it's the nicest thing anyone's ever said about Benny's funeral. We still pour out a little shine on Benny's grave every anniversary. The grass there grows faster than anywhere else in the cemetery. The groundskeeper doesn't ask questions anymore.